Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I wanted to share with you what we are going to be doing for history this year in our homeschool. I'm going to be teaching a 5th grader, a 2nd grader, and a kindergartner this year. So we are doing something super fun for history. I think you're really going to like it. Okay, so you can see behind me that I am in full-on homeschool planning mode. I have all of the things that we're going to be using for our homeschool this year back in this corner, and I'm just kind of piling them up, trying to keep them together and organize them before we start our school year in a couple of weeks. But I wanted to show you our history program because I'm super excited about it. I think it's going to be super fun. The last couple of years we have used Story of the World for history. So we did ancient times. It took us all the way up until like the Romans, and then we did their volume 2, which started after the Roman Empire and into the Middle Ages. It took us all through the Middle Ages. They do have a volume 3 and a volume 4 that just continues the pattern of events from these books, which volume 3 would take us from the Middle Ages into like the start of the United States of America and take you through US history. And then they would also show you events going on around the world during that same time period. But I wanted to focus on just United States history with my girls this year, especially since I have a kindergartner and a 2nd grader. And so I was trying to decide what I wanted to do for United States history and decided that we are going to be using the American Girl books to study US history. A couple of years ago when my oldest was in 2nd grade, we used American Girl to study history then, and we had a really fun time with it. And as we were going through it, I created these small unit studies to go along with the books that we were reading. And this year, since my 2nd will be in 2nd grade, I thought it would be really fun to just repeat that, to do that again. My girls love the American Girl books. They each have a doll that they really love to play with. So I feel like it's a great way to teach them history in a way that keeps them engaged and really eager to learn. And so I went back to the unit studies that I created the first time around for my oldest, and I polished them up and I added a little bit more activities and information to the packets, and I'm so excited because they are in my Etsy shop now. I'm sharing them with you. I finished the Kaya one because that's the one that we're going to be starting with. If you're using the American Girl dolls to study history chronologically, she comes first, and so I finished this unit study first. It is in my Etsy shop. It's also in my shop on the Homeschool platform, so I'll link both of those in the description, and I'm also going to show you what's inside the packet today and how exactly we're going to be using it. Along with using the unit study that I created, we are going to be using the American Girl activity book. So this comes with coloring pages that my girls can color and complete the activities. I just purchased one of these because I can just photocopy the pages inside so that each of my girls can have a page to color. So we're going to be using this, and then we're going to be using this American Girl sticker book as well. Inside it has a ton of stickers for their historical dolls and also for some of their modern dolls, but the historical doll stickers that are in the back work really well on putting together a timeline and a little map of all of the American Girls. And then of course we're going to be using the actual books. We have all of the sets. I saved them from when I was a girl, and I've been sharing them with my girls, so they're older. I actually like them better than the ones that they have now, like where they've combined them all into the Be Forever series. And so I'm really glad that I have the set. But if you don't, because you can almost always find them in libraries, and so any of the ones that we don't have, we just go to the library to borrow. And then they also have really fun extras like the short stories or the mystery stories that go along with each girl. So those are fun to go to the library and grab for each girl as we study. And speaking of the library, I will also go and we will get books that happen to go with each time period to help us in our study. Since we're not following an actual history textbook, we're mostly just using living books to teach us about the events of America, from Native Americans to colonial times to World War II and so forth. So we use the library very heavily when we do the American Girl study to learn about the historical figures and events from each time period. Okay, so how exactly does it work? How are we going to go about it since we aren't going to be using a specific history textbook? And that's what I want to show you now. So when we did it last time, I used a 3-ring binder and I separated it into tabs for each of the girls, and we would complete the notebook pages from my unit study and the coloring pages from the activity book, and I would 3-hole punch them and add them into this binder. And it looked a little bit like this. This is what it looked like last time. Here's the Felicity one, the Josefina one, and so we just have a full notebook of pages like this and handcrafts that we did to go along with studying each girl and each time period. When we started using Story of the World, we got really into notebooking, and this is my favorite notebook from Walmart. It's like $3. It has a cute pocket on the top here so you can make a cover page. We use this for science and history the last couple years, and we've really enjoyed it. So we're going to use it again for our American Girl study, and we're not going to do the 3-ring binder style. So instead, it's going to look a little bit like this. I had one of my daughters help me out a little bit just to create some sample pages so I could share with you, but here we would use the coloring page from the American Girl coloring book. I photocopied the picture from here, and they'll color it and add it to their notebook for the first part for each girl. It also has the information for each girl for the character. And then we will use the pages from my study, which has over 50 pages of information and activity and artwork prompts and writing prompts in it. And I made it with the thought that you could freestyle it and add whatever pages you wanted to add into your notebook, and then you could add any extra information into your notebook that you wanted to as well. So for example, here is a map work page that came out of this study. Followed the instructions to complete the page, and then we cut and glued them into the page. These are also pages that you'll find in the study. A picture of Native Americans in their traditional clothing, and then a little box for writing down everything that you've learned about how they made their clothes and what kind of styles they wore for the tribe that Kaya was in. Same thing with their housing. So you'll find this picture of this teepee, and then you can have your kids notebook any information you want them to write down beside the picture of the teepee that they add in their notebook. So these pages are included in this study. You'll also find in the study that there's a horse page that's labeled the parts of an Appaloosa pony, since that's a huge part of the Kaya story. And then again, a writing prompt and coloring pages, so you can add that right into your notebook. There's a page where you can make a flip book, picture of Sacagawea, and a coloring page for them to do, and then notebook any information that you guys have learned. For example, for this page, I do have a short summary in my packet that talks about who Sacagawea was, and it gives a little bit of background on her and some information about her. Same with like Lewis and Clark. It talks a little bit about them, but of course you can always dive deeper into these characters to find out more information to really beef up your notebook a little bit more, especially for your kids that are older. So like this information would be plenty for probably your second grader or your first grader, your kindergartner. We will be getting some books from the library that will dive a little deeper into each of these characters, and so when it comes time for her to write about them, she will have a little bit more to go off of than just what I've included in my packet. But my packet does have general information about some of the real and historic people that were alive during the time period of the girl, or like in Kaya's instance, had contact with the Nez Perce tribe. So that's a little bit of information about how you can use the pages. And now I'm going to go ahead and show you what the pages look like so you can get a good idea of what's inside in case you want to head over to my Etsy shop and purchase the study. I start off the study with a how to use the study. It explains my vision behind it and how it works best with a little bit of freestyling and just adding to your notebook as you go. And that way you can really adjust it to fit the needs of your family. You can dive deeper when you want to dive deeper. You can just use the information that I've included in my packet, or you can skip certain things that you're not interested in and just stick with what you do want. So that's all explained here. I have recommended resource lists, so I have ideas for books that you can check out from the library if you wanted to look at that. I list the coloring book and the sticker book, a couple of other good books that would be great for learning about Native American history. And then I have some recommended websites here. This one is a great place to get some more free coloring pages. There is a virtual museum online. And then of course, I recommend searching YouTube for drawing tutorials or for any other information that you want to learn about Native Americans. Here are some videos that I've already found on YouTube and have kind of pre-screened and found to be really useful and informative to go along with the Native American study. So I have that all in there, and literally so much more. So it just goes on with informational pages and then activity pages that go along with that informational page. Over 50 pages of information and activity in this packet. can tell, I'm super excited about this project. I'm super excited about getting to finish it up and kind of shape it up so much so that I can share it with you in my Etsy shop. And also I'm really, really excited to just use it with my girls this year. They have been watching me kind of create it. I've gotten some input from them, especially on the videos about what was interesting to watch and what they found like they learned from. I've had them help me do some of the activity pages to see if they work out or if they were interesting, and my girls have loved them and they're excited to do them again when we actually officially start school. I think we're going to have so much fun studying American history this year. I can't wait. I am working on studies for each of the other girls. So right now I'm almost done with Felicity, and I'm going to be adding that to my Etsy shop, and I'm slowly going to be working on them and preparing them for us to use and loading them up to my Etsy shop as soon as I get them done. So if this is something that you are interested in using, keep checking back to my Etsy shop because you will be seeing more studies added for each of the American girls as the year progresses. Before I go, I wanted to show you one last thing that we did to go along with this study when my oldest daughter was in 2nd grade. I saved them from when she did it, and I'm glad I did because we're going to be recreating it this year, and so it helps me to remember how we did it, and also so I can show it to you because I think it's a really fun part of doing the study. Okay, so this was one of the projects we did. We created a poster of the United States, and then we put a sticker on the map to show where each of the girls lived in the United States and where they would have lived in relation to one another. So this is a really fun way to pull in some US geography as you're studying United States history. I had my girls memorize the states and capitals that same year, and so we'll be reviewing that again this year. You could throw in a state study and learn a little bit more in depth about some of the states that these girls lived in, or you can keep it simple and just do a map like we did. So what we would do is, as we studied the girl, we would get the sticker from our sticker book and we would put her in her spot. So like, for example, Kaya, we put in the Pacific Northwest, and then we drew a line, and my girls wrote down where she lives. So this says, you can't tell because it's my 2nd grader's writing, but it says Kaya, and then it says Idaho here. And so we did that for each of the girls. We didn't quite get to labeling this girl, but you can see here we have Kirsten in Minnesota, and we have Kit in Cincinnati, Ohio, Felicity on the East Coast, and all of where, and just pointing to each of the girls where they live. And so that was a really fun project. I highly recommend doing this. My girls loved getting to add a new sticker as we pulled out the next girl to do. I just printed this map off at home, and then I think I printed it on 2 pages and then glued it to poster board to create our little poster, and we kept it up in our school space for the year. And then the other thing we did was create a timeline of American history, and we used, again, more stickers from the sticker book to create a timeline. We ended up putting Kaya here at the very beginning to just represent Native Americans and how they were here far before the European settlers. Even though her books are dated closer to Felicity's time in 1764, I think is when Kaya is, we just put her at the beginning of our timeline as a representation for Native Americans being here first. And then I did add some other things to represent American history. These I just printed out from online, so you don't have to do this if you just wanted to use the American Girl dolls, but we added the European explorers, the Vikings that came, the Spanish that came, the English that came with the Jamestown settlement, the Mayflower, and just some important events that happened leading up to Felicity and the Revolutionary War. And then we would put each girl on the timeline all the way up to modern times. And we ended the timeline with something super fun with Mommy and Daddy when we got married, and then when my girls were born. So we just took a picture and glued them onto the end of the timeline, which was really fun. Creating something like this, it doesn't have to look exactly like this. This is just how I kind of imagined it in my mind, to see these girls walking along the history of the United States. And then you can see I wrote down something important things that happened. So like in between the Civil War and the turn of the century, there was the Industrial Revolution and inventions and cities growing. And so all that was happening in here and taking place leading up to the stories of Samantha. And so we would just talk about that a little bit before we started reading the Samantha book. So anyways, this is a really fun addition if you're studying American Girl history, to grab a poster board and to create a fun timeline like that. But again, I'll show you the 2 books that we did. It was the coloring book, which you can get on Amazon, and I'll link that in the description below. And then also the sticker book, which again, you can get on Amazon, and I'll link it in the description below. So that's our plan for studying history this year. Super excited about it. I wanted to share it with you in case you're looking for something fun and easy to do with your kids this year for history, or in case you were already planning on using the American Girl books and you were looking for some more resources to go along with that. If you've used American Girls to study history before, I'd love to know. Please tell me in the comments below. And if you like this video, please like and subscribe to my channel for more fun homeschool ideas and curriculum picks and encouragement and just all the things homeschool. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.